My name's Brad Morris, and I would like to be your next congressman from North Mississippi. I'd like to begin today by just thanking the committee who put this festival together. Also appreciate all of you in attendance. I know if you're like most of us, between work and church and you have children and grandchildren, there's a lot going on in your life. And there's other places you could be today. But we appreciate you taking the time to come here and celebrate 4th of July and hear what some of us seeking office have to share with you. In Mississippi, we stay pretty focused on providing a good life for our families, on spending time in our churches and in our communities and with our friends. And to make that happen, folks want to be able to put in an honest day's work and get an honest day's pay. They want to be able to make sure that their children are able to get a good education and reach out for a better life than they themselves had. And for generations, we've been able to do just that. We had a thriving middle class in this country that rewarded hard work and playing by the rules. Our nation was built on those simple traditions. And that's why I'm up here today. That's why I'm running for Congress, because today that middle class is slipping away. We're at risk of losing that basic American promise that if you work hard and you play by the rules, you can have a better life for yourself and your family. You know, I was raised just a little ways down the road in a little community called Dorsey, between Fulton and Tupelo in Itawamba County. My grandparents brought me up in a little FHA home there in Dorsey. And by many measures, folks have heard me say that we were poor. But by any measure out there, we were a working family. My grandfather worked in a pallet factory in Fulton, and he preached at little country churches on the weekends. My grandmother worked in garment factories around the area, at least until those jobs up and went overseas. After that, she kept working in different capacities, even making quilts into her retirement. And as soon as I got old enough, I worked too. I worked at Dorsey Food Mart, pumping gas and sacking groceries. I helped haul furniture for the local furniture store in Fulton. And then I would leave there and go down to the radio station down the street and help change out ads until the station closed at midnight. At the same time that we were a hard-working family, we also knew, though, that a good education was a leg up in life. And my grandparents never let me put off schoolwork to go to work. I was lucky to be able to attend some fine public schools, to have access to good teachers, to be able to access scholarships and financial aid to go to college. And all of that helped me get through some tough times, along with the help of so many of my extended family and folks in the community. It was that support from my family, from my schools, my church, my community that gave me the opportunity to go on to a better life. And I'm not the only one. But it's important for all of us to recognize that that opportunity didn't just happen. It was the result of conscious policy decisions that our community, our state, and our nation made, so that myself, others from the community I grew up in, went on to be doctors and lawyers, engineers, self-employed business people, and teachers, and folks with good jobs working out there in our community. But I can't help but worry about today's children. I can look back and I can see the important role that education played in my youth. I can see the important role of those teachers, scholarships and financial assistance for college, The importance of home ownership that allowed my family to be able to own a home. And the importance of all these rural grants that help communities grow. All of that helped me succeed, helped my community grow and succeed. I feel like it would be so much harder in today's environment with a Congress that's cutting back on vital programs that have helped middle-class families. And that is not in keeping with our values here in North Mississippi. When I look at this Congress, I see a Congress that just doesn't get it. They spend too much time bickering while the rest of us work to deal with the daily problems that we have to face. They're so focused on partisan squabbles that they've forgotten why they're up there in the first place. This Congress has it backwards, focused on helping out the big corporations and special interests and a wealthy few while neglecting the middle class and working families that have made this country great, letting opportunities for them just dry up. We face some serious problems today in this country, and the politicians in Washington have failed to solve them, leaving our middle class behind. That's why I'm running. I had to struggle to gain access to the middle class of this country, and I'm committed to stand up and fighting tooth and nail to make sure that those opportunities are there for other people to move up the ladder. So here's what I'll do. I'll focus on policies that help middle class and working families. I'll vote to stop the tax breaks that reward companies for moving jobs overseas. And I'll stand up and try to slow down these trade deals that have hurt North Mississippi and our job market. I'll support a serious, balanced approach to our nation's debt and our budget, making sure everyone pays their fair share, including the wealthiest folks in this country who earn the most and have done the best, and making sure that we don't balance the budget on the backs of middle class and working families. I'm going to stand up for folks like my grandparents who raised me, seniors and soon-to-be retirees, to make sure that Social Security and Medicare are kept intact for them and not just handed over to Wall Street bankers and big insurance companies. And I will not turn back the clock on long overdue reforms that keep and protect people's retirement savings from Wall Street scandals, and to protect people's health care by stopping some of the worst abuses of the insurance companies, like denying coverage for pre-existing conditions, like lifetime maximums of stopping your coverage when you hit them, and like charging the women here today more for insurance just because you're a woman. One of the first bills that I'll propose in Congress is a constitutional amendment to ban the massive spending by corporations and a wealthy elites to buy our elections. And I'll introduce a bill, and I think there's people there to back it, to permanently ban elected officials like our former senators and our former governor from going and becoming lobbyists when they leave office. We can't afford a government that is sold out and bought and paid for by the corporations and their lobbyists. I'll focus on helping our young folks with opportunities they need to find their own success, with well-funded education, good schools and teachers, and more affordable access to college. In short, I will focus like a laser beam on policies that help middle class and working families. Policies that build our economy from the ground up and create jobs for hard-working North Mississippians and give them access to move up the economic ladder. Most of all, I'm willing to work with anyone, anywhere, of any party to get things done for North Mississippi. My name is Brad Morris, and you can learn more about my campaign at bradmorrisforcongress.com. If you're on Facebook, like our campaign page. Thank you. Have a happy 4th of July. God bless Mississippi. God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.